One's afterlife is entirely dependent on whether or not they do not reject love, and thus God. Everything else is immediately forgivable, including ignorance, washed away in His love, light, and charity towards us. If one rejects love and is entirely self-centered, operating from his own dysfunctional flesh's responses of fear, aggression, and bodily cravings or aversions, then they close themselves off from the God who literally forms the foundation of their very being and surrounds them. This is not His doing. This is their doing. Their choice to remain in the darkness they have created until they come to their senses and cry out to Him. Otherwise, He welcomes everyone to His wedding feast, regardless of belief system. How we manifest love, how we manifest Him, whether we know it or not, is what is key. One's salvation or deliverance through Jesus Christ is as actually taught by the New Testament, however. While it can and should directly affect this afterlife, in practice has nothing to do with one's afterlife, but everything to do with how a person operates in the here and now, in this life. It is the deliberate disengagement from one's dysfunctional survival responses, one's fear in particular, and engagement with the Spirit of Christ, so that one operates and responds not from his own flesh, but from the Spirit of Christ, and thus God Himself. One ceases to enslave themselves to their own flesh, and chooses to enslave themselves to the Spirit of Christ, as they are a slave to whichever they choose to obey. But by enslaving oneself to the Spirit of Christ, that person channels Christ, manifests Christ, and because they manifest Christ, they manifest the God who is love Himself. Such people as choose to manifest this God who is love, of course they will not reject Him or shut their eyes to Him, or cut themselves off from the very foundation of their own existence. And those who, in ignorance of any of this, yet choose to love and choose to not be ruled by their fear but by this love, are, whether they know it or not, still choosing God because He is love. They are still choosing to keep their eyes open and not be a slave to their own flesh's responses, especially their fear, because fear and love cannot coexist. Attachment and sexual desire can easily coexist with fear and even produce and magnify it, but love itself cannot. The way which Jesus taught His disciples to follow was total submission to this God and Father who is love, and to let that love permeate and instruct everything which they did, letting go of their attachments, which led to the fear and panic which blinded them to love, and thus blinded them to God. It was to come to their senses and go home to the Father who would not just accept them, but run to meet them with tears in His eyes.